Okay. Well, welcome everyone to the Be Awesome Network. We're here with Jennifer Crow of the Beautiful Dream Society. Jennifer, why don't you tell us where you are in the world right now and what you're up to?
Sure. It's great to be here with you, Lori, even though we're very, very, very far apart. Because right now I am in a tiny little country that most people, I think, in America have never heard of. And it's a little country in Southern Africa, and it's called Lesotho, Lesotho, tiny little country. And I'm over here working with an organization called Beautiful Dream Society that fights human trafficking in Southern Africa.
Wow. I know that you do a lot of work over there. I know that you visit several times a year. And why don't you tell us a little bit about what you're doing now and what I saw a post that you posted recently about how many people that you rescued from trafficking in the last however long it was and that kind of thing. Why don't you tell us kind of what impact you're making there and why it's important to you and why should be important to us. So I do want to mention that Jennifer is in Africa and there is a little bit of a delay and sometimes her internet might jump off and on. So did you hear my question, Jennifer?
I think I did, and yeah, I do apologize. We've got, some of the best internet at this location where I am, but it's a Saturday afternoon. I think a lot of people are home and they're on the internet, and so the bandwidth is tricky. So I apologize for that in advance. But yeah, Lesotho is a little country surrounded on all sides by South Africa. And it is a country that is the second highest per capita for HIV infection of any country in the whole world. So they have a very high level of HIV, per the population here. What that means is that people in their 30s and 40s are dying, leaving orphans, or children, without parents. So there's a lot of child-headed households in this little country. And this country is considered to be a developing country, meaning that, it's working really hard to adopt modern laws and that kind of thing. But just to give you an example, the fact that we have so many orphans in the country is why there's so much human trafficking in the country. And it's also number 2 in the world per capita for reported rape, which is another exacerbating circumstance, with human trafficking. And so what you've got young people it's a little country surrounded by South Africa. So Lesotho's a developing country. South Africa is considered to be more of a developed country. So young people in Lesotho who don't have parents, they get a job offer from somewhere in South Africa. And it's an offer that maybe sounds too good to be true. They're offered a lot of money to go do kind of maybe a menial job like housekeeping or working in a shop or something. And they say, well, I don't have a passport. And the recruiter, the person recruiting them says, no problem. You can get across the border illegally. We'll help you. And once they get across the border, it's a completely different story than what they were told. And so they are subjected to, in many cases, actual sex trafficking. So you've got little teenage girls who are orphans and they're going to find a better life so they can eat, have food, so they can pay their school fees and send money back to their little brothers and sisters, and they're trapped in sex trafficking. And this also happens for men with labor trafficking. So they're promised a job and they end up going in it. It's an illegal job, like maybe working in an illegal mine, a mine that has been shut down, but criminals have kind of reopened it illegally. And so they never get paid. They don't get paid what they were offered. And they're also subjected to horribly extreme working conditions. And so Beautiful Dreams Society, we do a couple of different things. So what I'm working on down here is we help victims. So anybody that's able to escape or they have been rescued by the South African police, then if they can get back across the border, sometimes the South African police will bring them back to Lesotho. They can come into our shelter where we will provide medical care, psychosocial counseling, shelter, clothing, helping them figure out, because, maybe they've been gone for 2 years. Maybe they've been in a sex trafficking scenario for 2 years. They need help acclimating back to their family, back to their society. There's a kind of a stigma about people just disappearing over here. They think that people are just trying to go to the big city and make a lot of money. And they think, oh, the person disappeared, they must be making a lot of money, and they've forgotten about their family, when actually they've become a victim of trafficking. And so there's a whole psychological, societal aspect to helping these women and girls get back, integrated into society. So that's one thing we do, is we have a shelter. But I think the thing you're referring to, Lori, is that we try to prevent them from crossing the border. So we have like 9 staff members that are stationed at the border at different border posts that recognize red flags in young women and children and even men that they've come to learn is a potential trafficking victim. They question them. And that was the statistic that I had posted, that over 600, we've intercepted over 600 potential victims of human trafficking in this program over the last 3 years. So anyway, it's a whole different world over here than, although trafficking can happen in any country, and it certainly happens in America all the time.
Yeah. Wow. So I'm sure that how long have you been doing this? You must have a lot of really cool stories, but how long have you been doing this? And can you think of maybe something that you were involved in, some story, some instance that just really rocked your boat, or really like made a difference and made it, like, when things like that happen to us, I think that it compels us even more to keep doing what we're doing, keep doing what you're doing on your mission to save these people.
Yeah, sure. Our organization has been here in Lesotho for 14 years. So we've been doing this for 14 years. And the one story that sticks out in my mind is a young lady. She was trafficked as a 17-year-old in the same way that I'm describing to you, where she and her teenage friend met a woman who told them, oh, I've got an employer who really has some good work for you over in a town about an hour away in South Africa. So the 2 girls risked everything, and they went across the border, crossing the river through an illegal border, it wasn't a legal border post, and they were smuggled across with the aid of these smugglers that their job is to help people cross the border illegally. They were abused, first of all, by the smuggler, and their phone was stolen just when they were just crossing the border. Then when they got over there, there was a taxi that was supposed to meet them, and the woman who had recruited them was there and told them to get in this taxi with this driver that was supposed to drive them. He drove them to the town that they were going to, and they were each separated and locked in 2 different rooms where each one of them was sexually abused for hours that first night. And I mean, this is horrible stuff. I want to apologize in advance to all of your viewers because this is very disturbing, but it's the reality of what we deal with. And and they were threatened. Then they could see blood. The young lady told me there was blood on the walls, and it was just a horrible scenario. And they were threatened that if you don't do what we say, you're going to be harmed. She ended up trying to run away a couple of different times, but each time she was brought back by one of the gang, guys that was running this operation. And eventually she got very, very ill, and she was able to negotiate an escape with the help of her friend, who really kind of took a bullet for her, not a literal bullet, but sacrificed herself so that Agnes could get away. When Agnes then that was after probably about 6 to 9 months that she was over there. When she got back to Lesotho, she was so sick that she had to go to the hospital. And that's where a hospital employee reached out to a social worker, and that's where they referred her to us. And that was 5 years ago. Okay. 5 years ago, we began to help her report her case to the police. We reported it to the Lesotho police. We helped her cross the border and report it to the South African police. We helped her report it to the South African Hawks, which is like the special ops unit. Each of these legal entities said they were going to investigate, and they came back and said, there's really not a crime, because the girls that were in the brothel where she was working said that she was rebellious and she just ran away. And the girls say that they're fine. And of course, they interviewed them while they were on duty. And,
Right.
their pimps were just, all around. So the three legal entities declined to
Wow.
prosecute. We went to the U.S. Embassy. Because we're friends with the embassy here in Lesotho. We told them about this story. We even went to the location where this happened. We pointed out to all the South African police, here's the house where it happened. Here's the name of the guy. Here's the name of his assistant. We went to the South African embassy, the South African High Commission. We reported this with names, addresses to everyone. That person has never, still to this day, been arrested. He's not been arrested. We know his name. But so this is, and this story I'm telling you is just so common. It's things are getting better as the years go by, but it's very common. But here's the good news, Lori. At the age of 18, when she finally finished going through her crisis shelter, she said, I want to go back to high school. She had never gone to high school for all those years. So at the age of 18, she went back to high school, and Beautiful Dream Society has been supporting her because she has no other living relatives that can help her. And just this week, I met her, and she had graduated from high school just a few months ago, and she just got accepted into the National University of Lesotho just this week to become I think like a biblical counselor or something, social work. Anyway, she's a different person. She battled for 4 years, wondering, okay, am I still in danger? Is that guy going to come back and find me? But she overcame her fear. She kept moving forward. And now, let's see, what would she be? 8 plus 5. So she's like 23 years old, and she's getting ready to go to college. And we're so excited for her and happy for her. And that's why we do what we do.
Wow. Wow. That has to be so rewarding to be a part of that story and to see. I'm sure at times it's really hard because you're in the middle of the muck and the trouble and the, you know, like you said, all of the authorities just refusing to help. But to see it come all the way back to victory is amazing. Yeah. So what I know you're there and I know you're making a huge difference. What started this passion in you?
Well, it's a very unusual story because I was a mother of 5. I was a worship leader at my church. I had been a homeschool mom in Oklahoma, never had a desire to help victims of human trafficking, never wanted to go to Africa, never had anything like that. But I was asleep in my house in Edmond, Oklahoma. I was asleep and I had a dream in March of 2008. And in my dream, I was on a boat looking across the ocean, and there was a hurting woman, and there was a word above her head. And that word was, I don't know if you can still hear me. Did we get cut off? Hey, did we
Sorry.
get frozen? Did we get
You're,
frozen for a minute?
you were frozen just for a second, but the last thing I heard you say is that there was a word above her head. In your dream, there was a word above her head.
Yeah, there was a word above her head that I'd never seen this word before. And it was Lesotho, spelled out in capital letters. Yeah. And in the dream, she was looking at me across the water and tears were streaming down her face. And she said, "Help me." And that started a long journey for me to try to figure out, why did I have this crazy dream? And fast forward to today, we've got our organization here with 29 staff people that work here. They're all, you know, from the Basotho tribe. They're all local people. And we've got a church. We started a church. We started an event venue. So, you know, by the grace of God, with the help of my church in Oklahoma, we were able to, as Oklahomans, you know, do something to make a big difference in this little country. So that's how it started. Unplanned in my mind. And I never dreamed, but it was like a life-changing dream for me.
Absolutely. And that's why I guess you call it Beautiful Dream Society, right?
You cut out there for a minute. What'd you say?
I said that must be why you call it the Beautiful Dream Society, the name of your organization. Is that right? Well, it looks like we have another delay, but what an amazing story. I love that it started with a dream. I love that you called it Beautiful Dream Society because of the amazing dream that you had. And for it to be so specific, to say, now, is it Lesotho? Is that how you pronounce it? Yes.
Yes.
So in your dream was spelled out the name Lesotho, which you probably had never heard of before. I had never heard of it before. So what an amazing story. Wow. Wow. Well, how can we help, Jennifer? How can we get a hold of you? How can we connect with you? How can we join your mission? Can you tell us how to connect with you?
Absolutely. Absolutely. You can go on our website, which is www.beautifuldream.tv, beautifuldream.tv. And you can get involved. One of the main needs we have, you know, from America is financial support, because I'd say 40% of our budget comes from our American donors, comes from my friends, my family, my people that I know in Oklahoma. So you can get involved in, even, you know, cost of living over here is so little that even if you want to contribute like $30 a month, that is huge for this ministry and these children that we take care of. We also have an orphanage that we take care of vulnerable children. Sometimes if children are trafficked and they don't have a safe place to be reunified, we have to take them into our children's home, and similar to Agnes, but yeah, or if anybody wants to come out to Lesotho with me, I would love to bring you out here and we'll take you on a safari. So if you want, if you want an experience of Africa, come on out. So you can reach me through my website, and spread the word. We have never owned buildings so far, Lori. For 14 years, we've never owned our own buildings over here. We've only rented buildings for all these years that we've been doing this work. And we just have started building our first buildings, which is going to be 4 homes for children. Each home will be able to house 8 children. Right now, there's a waiting list of children. We're very limited. We can only house like no more than 12 right now. So when we get these new homes, we'll be able to take 32 children that are in need. So that's another thing that we need. If anybody knows of any donors that would like to help us with building these buildings, building materials, sponsoring a home, get in touch with me, because we're looking for people that want to help vulnerable children and victims of human trafficking.
Wow. Wow. That's amazing. I'm sure that a lot of people in this group will want to reach out to you, and we'll go ahead and tag, or I'll go ahead. We can tag after the live is over. We can tag your website in the comments, and so they'll know how to get a hold of you. And Jennifer, I just want to say thank you so much for everything you're doing. Thank you for listening to your dream and following it, because the reality is you could have just had the dream and thought, oh, but you took action and you made something happen that is incredible, and dare I say awesome. So thank you so much.
It's certainly by the grace of God, Lori. It's not anything that I've ever been trained for, or it's just by the grace of God. And thank you so much for having me on your show. And people can reach out to me through Facebook Instant Messenger too, if they want to, because I think I'm part of your group. So I love what you're doing, and I can't wait to be a part and hear more about all the awesome people that you're connected to. So thank you for what you do.
Well, thank you, Jennifer. And I'm going to end it here. And for everyone watching, thank you for watching. And I just want to tell you, I think you're awesome, and I'm glad you're here. So thanks again, and we'll end it here.